Tomorrow's the inspection. So I've said it before, we got all our plumbing, electrical, HVAC. Well, the HVAC guys did get done. So now everything's ready. Framing is getting inspected. I put some metal up on the front porch roof. So the roof was already built, but we just put the metal on it. You might see a little bow in it, but when we put the fascia board on, we're gonna crank it up and get it all straight. We wanted to extend that little bit of roof across the garage to try to break it up, and maybe we're gonna have a different kind of siding down here than what we have up here, and just try to put some interest into the house so we don't have just this giant, boring bunch of siding that's all the same. So that's what I'm working on right now, is this little roof piece going across. I don't think it's gonna affect our inspections. Hope not. I think it's just cosmetic. I don't think they're gonna include that in framing. I just duplicated that angle that we have on the trusses on the porch and just do this little piece sticking out. I just need to get some plywood on top of it, and we'll put a little bit of metal up there. We've been able to find new homes for the kittens. So 2 are gone and 2 are left. One kitten went with one family and a kitten went with another family, and then the 2 kittens that are left are going home with our niece, and she should be here soon. So they're all going to have families. Hey, here's a nice puffball mushroom. I've seen a few mushrooms coming up lately because of all the rain. So all puffballs that are white on the inside are edible. But I have tried the ones here on our property, and they don't taste as good as some that I've had that were more fluffy. So I'm not gonna eat this. But if you tear it open and it's white, it's edible. Unless it has this. So this just has a root directly to the ground. It's clearly a ball. If you pull it up and it looks like it has a stem, and if it has any kind of the gills, if you see anything like that, it's not gonna be okay. But if it's attached directly to the ground, no stem or anything, I mean, this had a little root on it, but not a stem, then that is an edible mushroom. At least in the United States. I don't know about the rest of the world. After saying all that, I also want to say, do your own research. Don't rely on just what I say. Make sure that you check on things yourself. So I've really been getting into flavoring kombucha. The first batch was lemon and ginger that I showed on the video, and it came out really good. It was a little bit too much lemon, but then I didn't have any lemons, and we had a bunch of oranges, so I did some with orange, and it was really good. Much milder, but still had a little bit of a bite to it. We still have 2 bottles of the orange left. And mostly you're just getting that color from the tea. I think I'm about to do strawberry, and I think that the color will probably be very similar. I'm sure I've said it before, but my past experience with kombucha, I just made the tea, and it was good, but it gave me a stomachache sometimes when I drink like a whole glass. This, I've been a little bit careful not to drink too much of it because I don't want to get a stomachache. But so far, it's not been a problem. It's been going well. I think the real key to success is the little bit of frozen ginger that I keep putting into it. So right now the color is really nice. We'll just have to see if it looks this way in a few days when it's ready. Okay, I made my tea with my sugar, my sweet tea, and put the SCOBY in there. So we're working on the next one. I put it back in its warm place. I stopped putting bottles up there on top of that thing because I was concerned that the bottles might overflow and get onto the solar equipment. We definitely don't want that happening. But the jar just has a piece of cloth on top of it, so it's not building any pressure at all, and it's not going to overflow. So the inspector was supposed to come day before yesterday, and he never came. So then we realized that he would probably come yesterday. We saw a county truck drive by, and we weren't sure if he had been here. But we came down and looked, and the house plans were still sitting in the same place. Everything was sitting in the same place. So it wasn't until today that this morning when I was getting ready again, just in case they came a day late, that I found the list from yesterday. So he did come. I have to say I was pretty optimistic to think that we were going to pass the heating and air, the electrical, the plumbing, the framing, and everything all in one inspection. So we didn't. So I've got a list of things to do, but it's not terrible. You know, it's disheartening when you don't pass any kind of test. I guess sometimes if you don't pass, you feel like you failed. And so I had a little bit of that feeling in my stomach of, I don't like failing. But I don't know, as I look at it, it's just a to-do list of the things to make sure we tighten everything up. And it's good to have somebody come along and check behind you, because there are things that I just don't know because I don't build houses all the time. Even though, you know, I've been in construction, I've been superintendent of construction, and so I do know a lot, but you can't know everything. You can't know everything with every different kind of trade. Framing, this is the second time I've framed a house myself. Yeah, I guess it's the second time. So I can't know, this is a completely different house than the first one I did. The first one I did was very simple, and this one is fairly simple, but it's different. I knew that I had to have 3 of these boards going all the way to the ceiling on each side of the garage door, and then 2 supporting boards underneath. So there it is, there it is, there it is, and here it's not. For some reason, I only put 1 board here. So I'm gonna have to knock out that 1 block, and then I can just put 2 more in there. It's gonna be really easy. Another thing, I had left my house plan for the guy and my truss plans. Turns out none of these truss plans were in there. So he said no truss plans. He said he wanted nail plates covering the plumbing. That's what those are. And we do have them pretty much everywhere. But in this wall, the 2x6 wall, they're far enough into the wall where you shouldn't have to have them. But I'll just go ahead and put them all on there anyway. When you have wires and plumbing that deep into a wall, your screws for drywall and stuff are not gonna go that deep. So it's okay though. It's good. If for some reason anyone ever put a screw in the wall right there, we wouldn't want it hitting the plumbing. This drain for the washing machine, it's supposed to have a minimum of 18 inches right here. So I'm gonna have to take all this out and move it down. That's gonna be one of the more difficult things, but really all I gotta do is just cut it all up and put in couplings. I can put in a coupling above, a coupling below, so I can move this down. I can put a coupling in here to reconnect that. I'll have to drill a new hole. And I can put a coupling in here to make this all move down lower. On the outside near the breaker box, he wants me to go ahead and put in the grounding. So I'm pretty sure he's talking about he wants grounding rods driven in the ground and the grounding wire attached to these boxes. There's several other things, but no need for me to go over all those things. It's just a list of things we need to get taken care of, and maybe in another week or so, 2 weeks at the most, I think I'll be calling it back in. Actually, there were a couple things I didn't even know that he would want. Like we had just gotten these windows because we knew we were getting this inspection done and we were going to go ahead and start putting in the windows after the inspection. He wants them in before the inspection. So that's another thing we weren't expecting. Fortunately, we don't have to put in the doors because I don't have the doors yet. But I did go ahead and get one. I got the sliding door for the bedroom. So it's here, ready to install. It's going to go over here. Now I'm going to go back to the barn and continue staining.